Welcome to Section 3, where we tackle the high-level complexities of general equilibrium and welfare economics through a 20-question advanced challenge. Please like this video and subscribe as we dive into the final boss of microeconomics to see if you can achieve an elite-level score. The 20-question advanced challenge.
Question 1. In a two-person exchange economy, if MRSA not equals MRSB, what is the result? A. Pareto efficiency. B. Competitive equilibrium.
C. Room for mutually beneficial trading.
D. Market collapse. Answer: C. The marginal rate of substitution represents how much of one good a consumer is willing to give up for another.
If these rates differ, one person values the next unit of a good more than the other person does. This creates a price gap where they can swap goods so that at least one person moves to a higher indifference curve without hurting the other.
Question 2. The contract curve in an Edgeworth box represents points where
A. Total utility is equal for both.
B. Marginal rates of substitution are equal across consumers. C. No one is consuming anything.
D. Both consumers have the same income.
Answer: B. The contract curve is the set of all Pareto efficient points in an exchange economy.
At any point on this curve, the indifference curves of the two consumers are perfectly tangent to each other. Because their slopes are identical, MRS_A equals MRS_B, there is no way to reallocate the goods to make one person better off without making the other worse off.
Question 3. If there is excess demand in a competitive market, prices will A. Stay constant. B. Fall. C. Adjust upwards. D. Become zero. Answer: C.
When the quantity demanded exceeds the quantity supplied, consumers compete for the limited supply, which bids the price up. As the price rises, marginal demanders drop out and producers are incentivized to supply more, eventually pushing the market toward equilibrium.
Question 4. Why is bargaining outcome indeterminate with only two people but determinate with many? A. Two people are more rational.
B. Many people allow prices to be determined by combined supply and demand.
C. Many people cause market failure. D. Two people have no indifference curves. Answer: B.
In a two-person bilateral monopoly, the final price depends on psychological factors and bargaining power. There is no single market price. However, in a large market, everyone becomes a price taker. The intersection of thousands of individual demand and supply decisions forces a single, unique market clearing price.
Question 5. Pareto efficiency in distribution is achieved when A. One person gets everything. B. It is impossible to make someone better off without making another worse off. C. Everyone has the same amount of goods. D. Prices are at their highest. Answer: B. Pareto efficiency is a measure of technical efficiency, not equity.
It means that all gains from trade have been exhausted. If you are at a Pareto efficient point, the only way to increase the utility of person A is to physically take goods away from person B, thereby reducing B's utility.
Question 6. What does the slope of the production possibility curve, PPC, measure? A. Marginal rate of substitution. B. Marginal rate of product transformation, MRPT. C. Marginal utility. D. Profit margin. Answer: B. The MRPT represents the opportunity cost of production in a society.
Because resources are scarce, producing one more unit of good X requires shifting labor and capital away from good Y. The slope of the PPC tells us exactly how many units of Y we must sacrifice to transform our economic output into one more unit of X.
Question 7. General equilibrium of production requires that the MRPT equals A. Total revenue.
B. The ratio of product prices, PX/PY.
C. Marginal utility of X. D. The wage rate. Answer, B.
For an economy to be in general equilibrium, the technical rate at which we can transform goods, MRPT, must align with the market rate at which consumers value them, $PX/PY. If $MRPT PX/PY, firms could increase profits by changing their production mix until the two ratios are equalized.
Question 8. In an Edgeworth box, the initial endowment refers to A. The final equilibrium.
B. The starting quantities of goods held by each individual. C. The total money in the economy. D. The slope of the indifference curve.
Answer, B. The initial endowment is the starting point of the economy. It represents the basket of goods each person owns before any trade occurs.
This point is crucial because it determines which parts of the contract curve are reachable through voluntary trade.
Question 9. If a price ratio results in A wanting to buy more X than B wants to sell, there is A. Excess supply of X. B. Excess demand of X. C. Competitive equilibrium. D. Pareto efficiency. Answer, B.
In a general equilibrium model, the market only clears if the net demand of all participants sums to zero. If person A's desired purchase of good X is greater than person B's desired sale of good X, the market is in disequilibrium. This excess demand acts as a signal for the price of X to increase relative to the price of Y.
Question 10. The cardinal assumption of additivity implies that
A. Total utility is the product of individual utilities. B. Total utility is the sum of utility from each commodity in the bundle.
C. Utility cannot be summed across people. D. Only the last unit consumed matters. Answer, B. Additivity is a simplifying assumption in classical cardinal utility theory.
It suggests that your satisfaction from one good, like bread, is independent of how much you have of another good, like butter. Mathematically, it allows us to write the utility function as $U equals U, X, plus U, Y, $, ignoring the complex synergies or cross-effects between goods.
Question 11. A consumer's utility function is U equals X multiplied by Y. If PX equals 2, PY equals 1, and income equals 12, what is the optimal bundle? A. X equals 3, Y equals 6. B. X equals 6, Y equals 3. C. X equals 4, Y equals 4. D. X equals 2, Y equals 8. Answer, A. This is a classic Cobb-Douglas optimization.
When the exponents of X and Y are equal, both are 1 here, the consumer always spends exactly half their income on each good.
Spending $12/2 equals $6 on good X at $2 each gives 3 units.
Spending the other $6 on good Y at $1 each gives 6 units.
Question 12. What happens to the MRS as we move down along a convex indifference curve? A. It increases. B. It remains constant. C. It diminishes. D. It becomes 0. Answer, C. As you move down an indifference curve, you are gaining more of good X and giving up good Y.
Because of the law of diminishing marginal utility, the extra X becomes less valuable to you, while the remaining Y becomes more precious. Therefore, you are willing to give up less and less Y to get even more X, causing the MRS to fall.
Question 13. The second-order condition for utility maximization requires that the IC be A. Linear. B. Concave to the origin. C. Convex to the origin. D. Upward sloping. Answer, C.
While the first-order condition, tangency, tells us where the slopes of the budget line and IC are equal, the second-order condition ensures we are at a peak of utility rather than a valley. Convexity ensures that any move away from the tangency point along the budget line results in a lower indifference curve, confirming a unique maximum.
Question 14. If a good's angle curve is downward sloping, the good is A. Normal, B. Inferior, C. A luxury good, D. A necessity. Answer, B. An angle curve plots the relationship between income and quantity demanded. For most goods, demand rises with income, normal goods.
However, for inferior goods, like low-quality staples, as you get wealthier, you switch to better substitutes, causing your quantity demanded to actually drop as your income rises.
Question 15. The transition from individual demand to market demand assumes
A. Only one consumer exists.
B. No interactions between consumers. C. Prices are different for different people. D. Incomes are all equal. Answer, B. Horizontal summation of demand curves assumes independence of preferences.
It ignores social effects like the bandwagon effect, buying something because others have it, or the snob effect, buying something because it is exclusive.
If these interactions existed, we couldn't simply add the curves. Question 16. In the cardinal approach, the demand curve is derived from
A. The law of supply.
B. The law of diminishing marginal utility. C. The angle curve.
D. The production possibility curve.
Answer, B.
Cardinal theory states that consumers equate MUX/PX equals MUE/PY. Since the marginal utility, MU, of a good falls as you consume more of it, the only way to maintain that equality when you buy more units is for the price, P, to fall as well. This inverse relationship between price and quantity is what creates the downward sloping demand curve.
Question 17. Welfare economics primarily uses which approach to analyze consumer satisfaction? A. Cardinal approach. B. Ordinal approach. C. Inductive method. D. Positive analysis. Answer, B. Modern welfare economics avoids the impossible task of measuring utility in exact numbers, cardinal.
Instead, it uses the ordinal approach, which only requires that consumers can rank their preferences, e.g., I prefer bundle A over bundle B.
Question 18. If the government imposes a tax on good X, the consumer's budget line will A. Shift outward. B. Become steeper. C. Become flatter. D. Not change. Answer, B.
The slope of the budget line is determined by the relative price ratio, PX/PY. A tax on good X increases its market price. Since the numerator, PX, increases while the denominator, PY, stays the same, the ratio becomes larger, steeper.
This visually represents that good X has become more expensive relative to good Y. Question 19. General equilibrium occurs when A. Only the labor market is in equilibrium. B. All markets in the economy are in equilibrium simultaneously. C. Supply equals demand in one specific market. D. Total utility equals total cost. Answer, B.
Partial equilibrium assumes all else is held constant. General equilibrium drops that assumption and recognizes that a change in the price of one good affects all other related markets. General equilibrium is only reached when every single interconnected market clears at the same time.
Question 20. A Pareto improvement is a change that A. Makes everyone better off.
B. Makes at least one person better off without making anyone worse off.
C. Increases total utility by any means. D. Equalizes income across all households. Answer, B.
A Pareto improvement refers to any reallocation of resources that increases the welfare of at least one person without reducing the welfare of anyone else. Once all such improvements are made, the economy reaches a state of Pareto efficiency, where no more win-win moves are possible.
I hope this challenge sharpened your understanding of complex equilibrium models and Pareto efficiency.
Be sure to comment your score below and subscribe to join us for our next deep dive into advanced economic theory.